Hello everyone, welcome back to another CodingBat lesson. So today, instead of going through warm-up, we're going to try 1-inch string. We can warm up with something pretty simple, like non-start. So, non-start, you're given two strings and you want to return them without the first character in each. So, what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to either create a new separate string for each A and B, and then turn those strings and set them equal to the desired string without the first letter, and then return the new strings. Or you could change the input strings themselves and get rid of the first character. I think it would be a lot cleaner and more simple to just literally alter and get rid of the first character of the input strings themselves. So that's what we're going to do here. Setting A, string A equals to A dot substring 1, because 1 in this case is the second character because substring starts from index 0. So it equals A dot substring 1 to the very end. You don't have to type a comma or anything, it goes to the end. You do the same thing for B. B equals B dot substring 1. And then you're going to want to just return A plus B. There you go. Make ABBA. We'll do one in the middle column. Given two strings A and B, return the result of putting them in the order A, B, B, A. Example, hi and bye returns hi, bye, bye, hi. So, now, you're going to want to return the first string, the first input strings first, and then two of the second input string next to each other, and then lastly end with first input string. This one should also be pretty easy. This one you could actually just do one single line of code, which is return A plus B plus B plus A. Yep, that one I would say is even easier than the first one. Let's try one a little harder. Let's say those were our warm-ups. Okay, now let's work on the without two. See if a length 2 substring appears at both its beginning and end, and return a string without the substring at the beginning if so. So basically it's asking us if the first two characters, or the first two letters and the last two letters of the input string are the same, then return the input string without the first two letters. Let's account for the special cases first. That's what you would always want to do. So think of the special cases. In this case, I'm thinking a string that is less than 2 characters so that we don't go out of bounds. So if it's less than 2 characters, then there's nothing to look for. You just return the input string by itself. So if str.length is less than 2, then you just want to return str. Okay. Now, we also want to look for the special case of if it's only 2 characters. If it's exactly 2 characters, then you just return a blank string. So if str.length equals 2, you just want to return a blank string. Good. Okay, now for the real testing part. So if those two special cases aren't met, then what we're about to type now is what it's going to check for. So we're checking to see if the first 2 letters and the last 2 characters are the same. So let's do that. If str.substring, now we're going to pull out the first 2 characters, which is 0 to 2, because index starts at 0. If that equals, because we're using strings here, we can't use equals with strings. That equals str.substring, the last 2 characters, which would be str.length minus 2 to str.length. Okay, a lot of parentheses there. And then, if that's the case, just return str.substring 2 to the end, which is basically everything after the second character or second letter. And then at the end, you always need to have a general return statement. We'll just say return str. And there you go. That one was a little more tough than the previous ones we've been doing, but hopefully you've been able to keep up. I also want to say I have all of these answers to all of these problems on CodingBat throughout most of these first like maybe 7 categories. They're on my GitHub that I've linked in the comments, and it's in the bio of my profile. So if you ever want to work on these by yourself and you're stuck on a problem, just like Control F and search for the problem name in my repository, and then you can probably find the answer. Let's try middle 2. Okay, so in middle 2 here, it says, given a string of even length, return a string made of the 2 middle characters. So the string yields alright. So, okay, it tells us that the string length will at least be 2. So unlike the last problem, we don't have to check for any special cases of, running out of bounds or any issues like that, because we know it will at least be 2, so the code will function no matter what. But what we're going to want to do here is we're going to first, the most important part is figuring out what index is the middle, because it varies depending on the length of the string, obviously. So what we're going to want to do is declare an integer to help keep track of what that index is. We're going to call int index equals, and then we're going to do string str.length minus 1 divided by 2. So we're going to take that length, we're going to divide it by 2. Because the index only goes up to right before, like the number of characters starts at 0 at the index, so it goes up to 1 less than the actual length. So, and we're going to divide that by 2, because even if that number is odd, integers are always whole numbers, so it will always round down. So that's how it works. So now we can just return str.substring, pulling out the index, mid-index character, and then index plus 2. And then that should yield the middle characters, just like that. Alright, I think that will be it for this video. If you work on these problems on your own and you find a problem that you would like me to go over on a video, you can always request in the comments. I don't really get any views though. I mean, if you happen to be watching this video, that's crazy. I appreciate it. And yeah, just show your boys some support, man. Appreciate whoever is watching this. See you in the next video.